Hi, everyone. This is Suzanne Wagner. Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing the Numerology and Astrology for October 28th, 2021. We're getting close to Halloween. And if you add all those numbers together, you get the number 16. And if you add the 1 and the 6 together, you get the number 7. The number 7 supports us in learning those mental patterns of self-control that allow us to study in greater depth and meditate. This number wishes to discover insight and mysteries within writing, teachings, philosophies, and spiritual practices. It wants to answer the eternal questions of why. This is a number that desires to bring greater awareness to the things in life that attempt to be the instruments of prophecy, intuitive depth, and magical skill. The key to fully understanding the depth inherent in some tools is to relax, be flexible, and to let go. While the mind wants desperately to understand, it is in the surrendering to the flow of energy within certain sciences and beliefs that the deeper answers arise. As souls, we recognize that many things have precise patterns of life in how they engage with the world. This number tries to attune us to those mysteries so that we can discover new levels of understanding and the complex levels of awareness that are possible. The astrology today. The moon shifts from Cancer into Leo, as most of us are still asleep, but it gives today greater vitality and enthusiasm. Venus semi-squares to Saturn early, and then it will sextile to Jupiter later in the day. Venus and Saturn will breed some discontent and a lack of confidence. Do not feel bad if you feel a bit awkward. Certain things in life may make us feel prickly and cynical. Try to stay cool and in the observation of things that unfold today. For some, this energy can make them feel anxious and troubled. Fortunately, we have Venus and Jupiter trying to get us to relax and get into the flow with more joy. This combination can make you feel as if you're up and down, coming and going. So just intend to be cooperative and accepting of others. There are a lot of shifts happening, so be kind and give where you feel compelled to help. This energy can make romance spring up and can make small things fun and interesting. It is a hopeful feeling that supports us in giving into a bit of shopping. Neptune and the Sun will have a minor square in the evening, and that may make us lose concentration, but this aspect is great for artistic and spiritual practices, as facts don't seem to matter as much. My quote for today. Ghouls and goblins get ready to fly. Laughter and fears seem on standby. Halloween is on the way, a time when spirits are close to the doorway. That passage between the living and the dead connects us to those who know what's ahead. As the darkness increases and the cool settles in, it is time to listen to those voices within. Many answers can be found, but we must listen closely to the sound of all those who have passed before, while there is a crack in time and an open door. And my blog for today. Many years ago, when I was in my 20s, I was hiking on a trail in Canyonlands, Utah. It was the fall season and it was cool, and I preferred to hike in that area in the fall because the bugs and the biting flies are not out. And it was a new trail that I had never been on. It was in the area of and in that area, the trails are marked with cairns, which are piles of rocks put in places on the hard sandstone so you know where the trail is. It is important to follow them because the landscape is such that you can easily get lost in this barren desert area. Water is also hard to find, and you really don't want to get lost. I have been lost a few times in such environments, and it is very disconcerting. I am walking and just letting my thoughts wander when I come around a strange angle of a hill and catch a glimpse of a pueblo tucked into the shaded side of the cliff. It was small, about 4 rooms, but it was clearly there. I pulled out my map, and I could not see any pueblos in this area or on this trail. I wondered if I had somehow gotten off the trail, but I could see the cairns behind me and in front of me, so I was on some trail, I thought. Perhaps this was not the trail that I thought I was on. Then, off to my left, I could see a very faint trail that wound up the hill and went up to the pueblo. It was on a fin of sandstone with a drop-off on either side, and something made me want to walk up there. I made a few of my own cairns on the way up just to be sure that I could find my way back down. Always a tricky thing. I got up there and it was a spectacular view. The ruins were in an amazing shape considering the age of them, and pottery was everywhere. I even found an arrowhead. But I know enough from my shamanic training that it is best not to take things from such spots, and usually best to not touch them. Because when an archaeologist comes back at a future date, you want them to have such a space as intact as possible. I looked at the surrounding landscape and tried to mark on the map where this pueblo was so I could talk to the ranger about it, just in case they did not know it was there. That was when I noticed the weather was taking a dark turn quickly. Clouds were rolling in from a distance and I could see rain. Not a good time to be on slick rock or wet sandstone or a fin that had a drop off of 100 feet on one side. So, such moments can be dangerous, and flooding in these areas can happen suddenly. With the changing of the weather, there was a distinct feeling of being unwelcome in this place. I could feel a dead person insisting that I leave, and leave now. I grabbed my gear and started down the fin when the storm's wind hit me hard from behind. It blew so strong I almost lost my footing multiple times. I literally felt as if that dead person, that dead Indian, was trying to push me off the cliff. I summoned all my spiritual forces and pushed back, saying into the wind that I was not being disrespectful and that I had not done any harm to this place. The spirit was clearly a warrior male and not happy with me. I could see him standing above me on the trail with his arms folded, glaring at me angrily. I managed to make it down to the main trail and turned back towards my car as the wind literally came up from behind and pushed my back so hard that I was almost running from the bursts of wind. I got back to my car just as the rain started to hit and drove to the ranger station. I went in and talked to the ranger about the pueblo that I had found and showed him where it was on the map. He told me there was no pueblo there, as he walked that trail all the time. I insisted that it was there, and there was pottery and arrowheads, and some archaeologists needed to preserve those ruins and take measurements. He again told me that there was nothing there. I think he thought I was nuts, and I started to wonder if that were true. In the spring, I went back to that spot. I parked the car in the same place, and I walked up the trail, but I also did not see any fin going up. No pueblo, nothing to show that I had left cairns going up a cliff. To this day, I don't know what happened. Perhaps I got caught in a time warp of some sort that opened a dimensional doorway into another place. Perhaps the pueblo is so well hidden and hard to see from any angle that the one that allows you to see it is the only one. Perhaps there is a magical energy or shaman that protects that spot and has made it invisible to others. Honestly, I don't know the answer. I believe I was there. I believe I saw what I saw. I believe some spirit conjured up a storm to get me off that mountain and away from that pueblo. I believe that it tried multiple times to push me off the cliff as I was leaving the pueblo. There are many things that we do not understand. I know that periodically dimensional doorways do open into other places and spaces. I do not know why they do this or how it happens, but I have experienced it for myself many times. Life is a mystery. What I know is that this moment in time is not the only one. What I know is that times overlap, and there are moments when you get a glimpse out of one reality into another. It is a very real thing, but one that is hard to explain. And when I have accidentally stepped from one reality into another, it throws me. The energetic shift makes me feel off balance and as if my electrolytes are not right. During that event, I stayed in my car for 15 minutes in the rain, trying to make sense out of it all and trying to calm down. I knew driving was not advisable until I reclaimed my center. Learned that the hard way by driving and getting in an accident years ago. So even with my attempts at finding my center again, I do not remember getting from that parking lot to the ranger station. It's all a blur. That's how I know something was happening to me. What that was is still something I cannot completely explain, but I think about it from time to time. Perhaps there are moments when we are all time travelers. Perhaps there are moments when holes in time present. Perhaps there are those that can step from one into another dimension. Or perhaps we can exist in various places and spaces simultaneously. It's interesting, one way or the other. So, once again, I hope you guys have a great time. We are coming up on Halloween. I hope everybody is going to have some fun. I have my pumpkin. I cooked one pumpkin already. I have another pumpkin that I've got to cook, and I'm going to be making pumpkin pies and some pumpkin cake. So do the pumpkin thing. It is the season. Talk to you later. Bye.